Hello and a big welcome back to the Wee Larder channel. Today we're going to be making a delicious Picaithly Bannock. So it's just like a Scottish shortbread. I've actually made this recipe in a shortbread mould, but you don't need a mould if you don't have one. You could just also press it into a plate and tap it out onto a baking tray. I'll show you in the recipe itself, it'll make more sense further down the recipe. So this recipe is part of my Scottish Tea Room collection. You can buy the full Scottish Tea Room collection cookbook over on my website, angiemilne.com. If you wanted all the recipes in one place, it's a great book to have and just print out and pop it in your kitchen. So it's packed with recipes that like traditional Scottish recipes and modern day bakes as well. And the inspiration for the cookbooks comes from all the lovely tea rooms that we visited over that we have visited over the years are all around Scotland. So I'll put a link to the video which talks a little bit more about the book in the description below, and I'll put a link down below for the book as well. So let's get started on our delicious Picaithly Bannock. So this is a really easy recipe. You don't need many ingredients. To get started, we're going to add all of our butter into a large mixing bowl. And we're then going to sieve in our plain flour. We're then going to rub our flour and our butter together until we have like breadcrumb type consistency. So if you just keep rubbing together lightly until you have what looks like breadcrumbs. We're then going to add in our caster sugar and our almonds and our candied peel. We're going to give that a good stir through. And we're then going to add in a little bit of milk at a time, and we're going to mix that through. So just keep adding in a little milk, mixing through and repeating until you have something that holds together like a nice soft dough. You don't want to knead it too much, you still want it nice and light, but you should be able to squeeze it together in your hands. We're then going to flour our shortbread mould. If you don't have a mould, you could use a small tin and just flour it, and we're going to press our mixture onto our mould there. So we're just going to press our mixture into our mould just lightly, just so that we have all the patterned areas covered. Don't worry if you go over the mould, because we're going to trim it at the end. You could even use like a small plate or something if you don't have a mould instead of a tin. So we're just going to roll it out a little bit, not too much. As I say, you don't want to like knead it in your hands too much. You want it nice and light, and we're then going to transfer it to a tin. So if you just tip it over onto a tray, a baking tray, I'm just using like a cake tin here, like a base of a cake tin, and we're going to tap it out with a rolling pin until it comes out. So you should have something like this. We're then just going to use a knife to trim around our shortbread. So we're just going to cut around the edges like so until it is nice and neat. You don't have to do this, but it just makes it nice and neat around the edges. We're then going to bake that in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes until it's nice and golden. It'll still be quite soft to touch. And that's in a fan oven at 160. It should look something like this when it's finished. We're going to carefully take it off of the tray and put it onto a cooling rack. Be very careful because it is quite crumbly at this stage and it is easily broken. So you want to try and keep it intact. And we're then just going to leave it to cool, sprinkle some sugar over the top, and we have our lovely Picaithly Bannock. And you can see it is nice and crumbly. It should be quite light inside. I'm just breaking it away here to show you. It has a little bit of crunch about it as well. So I hope you enjoyed making this recipe. I'm sure you agree it is super delicious with a cup of tea, and it's a lovely bake to have in the kitchen. And the kids just, when I have this in my kitchen, the kids just wander in and keep eating it every time they come in the kitchen. It never lasts long. So you can get the full range of Scottish tea room recipes in my Scottish tea room cookbook, as I mentioned before, my website angiemilne.com. You can also pick up a copy of my free traditional Scottish cookbook over my website as well. And if you are on Instagram, pop over and say hello. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you click the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, I will see you guys again soon. So take care, lots of love, bye bye.